Towards us, we can hear the rain. I'm going to introduce our guests, and we'll see whether we can get through this without being too wet. If we need to, we have a couple of umbrellas out of vision. Melissa Parke, thank you so much for joining us. You are the executive director of the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons. Now, of course, this whole negotiating process that's supposed to take place between the U.S. and Iran, a central part of it is to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That's the U.S. narrative. Iran says it doesn't want one, and it's been saying that for 50 years. Let me read the statement from your organization, ICAN. You have said that despite concerns, you've said the lesson of this war is the opposite of what the nuclear-armed states would have us believe. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that what this war has shown is that nuclear weapons, while being extremely dangerous and expensive, are strategically irrelevant. They have not produced a military victory. They have not produced a stable outcome. Excuse me.
No, go ahead. I'm going to deploy an umbrella, and we'll see how we get on with that. But please go ahead.
We've had two nuclear-armed states launch a war on a non-nuclear armed state. And it is the nuclear armed state that has been brought to the negotiating table, that has been forced to step back from its military operations. Iran has achieved a ceasefire, lifting of a blockade, restarting its oil exports, legitimacy for its oppressive leadership, and the commitment to a $300 billion reconstruction fund without possessing a single nuclear warhead.
What lesson do you take from that?
What I take from it is that nuclear weapons are strategically irrelevant, but they sit in the background, increasing the stakes of every miscalculation. And it is time for every nuclear-armed state and all the states that rely on nuclear weapons in their security policies to realise their folly and to join with other nations that are supporting the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons.
So you're saying that nobody should have a nuclear weapon, right?
Nobody should have a nuclear weapon.
So you know what Donald Trump, you know what the U.S. president would say to that? He would say, well, we don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Yes, there are a handful of countries in the world that have them. We don't want another country to have them. That would likely be Donald Trump's argument. I say this because he opens and ends every speech with this, saying that our priority is to prevent Iran from ever getting or buying a nuclear weapon. What would you say to him?
Well, what I'd say is that this MOU that has been agreed to, where Iran has committed to never acquiring or developing nuclear weapons, is a position that Iran has held for more than 5 decades. It joined the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty in 1970, under which it's legally obliged to not develop nuclear weapons and to submit to IAEA safeguards. Back in 2003, the late Ayatollah Khomeini, who the United States assassinated on 28th of February, issued a fatwa against nuclear weapons. And in 2015, Iran agreed, in exchange for relief from sanctions.
Melissa, you know what? Yes. Let's be reasonable here. You're doing your absolute best. You started this interview 2 minutes ago with just a few clouds behind us. Now we have clouds, we have rain, we have wind, and we have hail. So let's be reasonable. I'm going to hand it back to Al Jazeera's global headquarters in Doha, and we'll be speaking to you again very soon.
Thank you.
Back to you in Doha.